Oh, I want to sell this lip gloss and that and that and that. Okay, but what are you solving? There's like thousands, if not millions of brands out there. Who are you really? Why should I buy into you beyond the entertainment factor, right? Personal brand is a reflection of you. It should be as true to your character as possible. People can see through when it's not really you. The point is not to be viral. The point is to show up consistently, build trust, be in the long-term game. Also understanding your objectives. What are we doing with all this? When we do the strategy, it's really important to kind of understand your values, but also like your key messages. What do you want people to associate with you?
What do you think is the biggest mistake that people do when it comes to personal brand?
The biggest mistake is not owning your brand.
You want to open your brand and you want to market it in the best way possible. What are the three main things I have to consider?
Imagine if this brand was a person. What would they look like? What would they wear?
Yeah.
So really imagining this person in holistically, because at the end of the day, your brand needs to appeal to them. That's going to be your brand persona.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Wellsome. In today's episode, I have the pleasure to have with me Mariam. Welcome to Wellsome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
So before letting you introduce yourself and explain to our audience what you're doing, so Mariam is the founder of the Brand Botox. She's been in marketing and branding for many years. And in today's podcast, we're going to explore everything that you have to know when it comes to marketing yourself or your brand, and all the tricks and all the secrets that no one wants to unveil. But thank God with Mariam, we are here to spill the tea.
Yeah.
Mariam, welcome to Wellsome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so great to be here with you. Thanks for having me.
First of all, I'm sure that even our community now is so intrigued by this name, the Brand Botox. Tell me more about this insane name because I love it. I'm obsessed.
Thank you. Honestly, I think it was channeled. I had a moment where I was considering, because I have a very dynamic career. The Brand Botox is something I've been doing for the last 2.5 years, which is a branding and content agency. We have content solutions for businesses, so A to Z content solutions, online visibility, but also we're very strong in personal branding. And that's something that has just evolved very naturally in our business. But there came a point where, I was in a consulting phase. I've been in production. I've been in luxury brands. I've been in agencies. I've had a few of my own businesses. So it came to a point where I felt like I need to step away from just being me as a consultant and do something bigger beyond me, which would come in the format of an agency. And I was thinking about, how can I create something different? Because there's so many names out there already, especially with the name like social or like agency. And I'm just like, oh, it's all been done. So I just had this brainstorm. It came on my own actually. And it just came to me like, what about something to do with brand? And then, okay. And I was like thinking about we want to elevate someone's brand or their image. And then Botox came, and I'm like, that works. That works. Cool.
Yeah, it's so cool, and it's so like catchy as well. Yeah. It catches your eyes for sure. Yeah. So it really reflects your experiences also in the industry to just have a name that is really, really strong. I love it. Yeah. So I have a question for you straight away. So you said that you're very strong in personal brand, and nowadays everyone has to kind of like take care of their personal brand. Why is it so important nowadays to be focused on our personal brand?
Yeah, look, I've been around for a while, and maybe it doesn't show, but I've had 20 plus years of working experience, right? So once upon a time, online wasn't really an issue. It wasn't like when we were doing marketing, it was more about, okay, maybe there was a website, maybe we had emails, but then if you want to market a brand, it was billboards, it was magazines, it was events, it was some PR. So online wasn't really considered, or it wasn't even there. Like we didn't have social media at that point. So later on, as things evolved, we have LinkedIn, we have Instagram, we have TikTok, it keeps going, YouTube. This really transformed the way that we need to show up from a marketing point of view. So not only for people, but even businesses and product services. Till now, which is a bit shocking, there are still companies that offer various products or services that are still not showing up online. They're still old school. And
really?
It's like shocking. It's like,
crazy.
No, you have to. You don't have a choice. You
don't have a choice,
because the first thing people do is they're going to look you up, right? There's so much available now And I'll come back to personal branding in a second, but there's just so much out there, right? So you really have to define your narrative. You have to own it, especially with, building trust and authority. Even if you want someone to buy into your product or service, that comes with time.
Yeah.
It's never like in an instant. It's very rare unless it's something like kind of in the moment, which is usually a very small risk or cost, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to personal branding, look, I know that this is like a trending word and everyone's talking about it. And, I don't want to regurgitate the same ideas and again, but basically it's about owning your narrative as a person.
Yeah.
Not only for your career, but also for your for your own reputation. So it's like how you show up online is definitely a part of your reputation.
Yeah.
So when people search you, which they do,
yeah,
and you've done it and I've done it, everyone's done it, we all know.
Of course.
We go and Google someone's name.
Yeah.
What shows up? Are you happy with what's there? Is nothing there? Because that's also a statement. That's also a part of your brand. So whether you like it or not, you have a brand. It's just like, what are you doing with it?
Yeah.
When someone has nothing coming up, that's like a bit of a red flag as well. It's like, why is there nothing about you out there?
Yeah.
Especially like when you're dating and stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, wow, okay, you're like almost invisible. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
It's about owning your narrative. Also, being able to manifest what's next for you in your career. And again, building trust and authority. I think most of us are working on some kind of level, right? We all want to monetize. We want to make money, or we want to grow our finances.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a huge part of it. Being able to get people to buy into your story and what you do is just like meeting someone in person.
Yeah.
You can get to know them. You feel good with them. I want to work with them. And same thing online. It translates in the same way, in a similar way.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you think is the biggest mistake that people do when it comes to personal brand? Or maybe they assume that, I know, for example, I think the mistake that I did in the past is assuming that I should have kind of like fake it a bit to just create like a fake persona that is very snappy, that is very out there, while I think it's more like elevating your personality rather than faking something that you are not. Yeah. But I don't know if you agree with me on this and if there are any strategy behind it.
Yeah, so going back to your question about mistakes. So I think the biggest mistake is not owning your brand, your personal brand. So just assuming that, I work in a corporate and it's not necessary, that's also a mistake, because God forbid you get made redundant or you want to move on to your next step and then you have no idea how to kind of pave that way. A lot of people struggle to kind of move forward or to, at least have their LinkedIn page looking good, So, second of all, I think, as you touched upon, is like the authenticity. And I know this is also another word that's thrown out there like again and again, but the personal brand is a reflection of you. It should be as true to your character as possible.
Yeah.
Like, I think showing up on camera and being out there in your content, people can see through when it's not really you, or you're trying to put on a facade. It's kind of...
People, and I think now, especially nowadays, I think in the past, because people were not as exposed, and they have seen like 3 influencers because it was the rising of influencers. Maybe they were a little bit more naive, but now I think because there's so many people online and they can tell the difference between like a person who is authentic and not. As now we can tell the difference between a video that is from AI or not AI. Yeah. So I think that now people, they feel if you're authentic or not.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's also what do you do? Like, I mean, what is it you want people to buy into? So let's say, another conversation people have, and I had this on my social media as well. I was talking about how, a lot of people, when we talk about personal branding, they're like, I don't want to be an influencer. And I'm like, no, this has nothing to do with being an influencer. Not that being an influencer is good or bad, but I think there is a perception that is like far removed from being like authentic, or you're trying to be something that you're not, or, I think influencers it's also a really important thing as well. And they also need to build personal brand to monetize. A lot of them know how to do it. A lot of them don't, actually. And I met with She's actually quite popular. I mean, she has like 1 million followers. She's doing so many different things, but like also her personal brand is a bit of a mess. So I think she's also trying to get things. So they know they have to build that so that they can monetize. Because after a while, influencers, you can collaborations, partnerships, you get paid for this and that. But like eventually that's gonna phase out, right? That's not forever. Very few can make it work for a very long time, right? So you got to be smart and build something beyond that as well, which that's where your personal brand comes in. So who are you beyond the funny videos and the trending, TikToks and stuff? Like, who are you really? Why should I buy into you beyond the entertainment factor, right? So that's another thing as well.
Yeah. Mariam, I have a question. Actually, I have so many now that we're talking because it's so interesting, and I'm sure that even people, they want to know the truth behind it. Do you think that labeling someone as an influencer is still a little bit of a stigma? Because I remember a few years ago that it was still very not recognized as a work. And connecting to personal brand, I think personal brand is something that everyone can actually do. Doesn't matter in which field or what they're doing. But is there a specific, do you think that is for everyone, or do you think that it only makes sense if you either sell something or you want to be out there?
So look, I think we're all selling something at the end of the day. An influencer is selling their lifestyle, their network, their following as well, right? So the ones that really know what they're doing, they do it very well, but they do it discreetly. So it's not so in your face,
Yeah.
And personal branding can take different forms. It's just more about being strategic about how are you positioning yourself and how to build around that, and also how to kind of manifest what you want next as well. It's a very internal game as well. It's a beautiful thing, actually. I get to see clients also, transform themselves, not only on an outward basis, but inward, because you really focus on what you want, what's next for you, 5-10 years from now, where do you want to be? Because that's all about how you position yourself and, be more strategic. So I think influencers are now understanding that it's not just about pretty photos and fun videos. You got to be a bit more forward thinking than that. Otherwise you miss out. And a lot of them now have their own brands, their own jewelry brands, let's say Karen Wazen, now she has her sunglasses, and now she's opening in, I think, a Dubai mall, if I'm not mistaken. So her husband actually is on board with her full time, helping her out with that. So they're taking that very seriously because, they understand that other side of things may not last forever, but you got to have something bigger than that beyond you, right?
Yeah.
Because you only have so many hours in a day anyway as a person, right? So I think personal branding is for everyone. I don't think it's just for specific people in corporate or, C-suite or coaches. It's for everyone across the board. And now more than ever, it's more important because everything is moving online and it's fast track, it's just accelerating faster and faster.
Yeah. So diving deep into the practical part, what are the 3 main things that a person should consider when it comes to personal brand? Let's say I'm new and I want to build my personal brand. Which are the 3 main pillars I have to consider?
Okay. I mean, actually, it's quite simple. So first and foremost, I think it's more about understanding, where you're at online. I'm focusing more online, but it does translate offline as well. So it's where are you at? Are you happy where you're at in your career or where you're at in life? Where are you online? When you Google your name, what happens? What do you see? Do you like it? Do you not like it?
Yeah.
What are your goals? So what are we working towards here with your personal brand? Is it just to have something for the sake of it? Or is there something you're actively, intentionally working towards? A new role or a shift in career? Sometimes it's maybe someone who's been in corporate for 10 years and they leave and they want to be an entrepreneur. So how do they shift and pivot into that?
Yeah.
What does that look like? So I call it an audit. It's a nice audit, just understanding where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Okay, just having clarity on that. Then I would say the next step is understanding what's next for you. So strategically, where do you want to be in the next 5-10 years? where do you want to, how do you want to position yourself? So what does that look like for you? So if you want to now be a musician, so what kind of musician is that? What, you know, who do you align with? Who do you aspire to be like? Who would be your competition? So then we understand where do you go? Like, where do you fit into all this? And also how to make you unique. What is your USP? How are you different than all these people? Because everyone has like something that's unique to them. And I think that's really important to be able to showcase that as well.
Absolutely.
In your personal brand. And that's how people can relate to you, connect to you, understand that if they work with you or experience you, then XYZ happens, right?
Yeah.
And then the third thing is understanding how you want to translate that consistently.
Yeah.
So that means, you know, I think there's two kinds of people. The ones that are very social media savvy and they're happy to have that experience, and the ones that absolutely hate it.
Yeah, the one that are like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, they just like have this like aversion to anything like social media. And I'm like, look, it's really not that bad. It's just like we need to have some kind of form of communication. So what are your key messages? Because we need to repeat this in different ways across the platforms. So choose like two platforms. So let's say LinkedIn, I think, should be for everyone because actually it's linked very much to SEO and Google. So anything that goes on LinkedIn.
So do you believe in the power of LinkedIn?
Definitely. Yeah. It's very linked. The algorithm, for whatever reasons, is very much SEO friendly for Google. So whenever you're posting on LinkedIn, you'll see it's always like in one of the first results, like if you type in your name.
Oh, so that's so true. Yeah, when you're typing someone's name is the first thing that pops up. Yeah, true.
Yeah, so it's good to have a very good LinkedIn profile, but to be active there to some extent. Like, you know, I think some people also take it to a next level, but that's something else. As baby steps, it's just being consistent on up to 2 platforms. So I would say, let's say for people in our age range, LinkedIn is a great one. Even teens, I would suggest start having a page, start building that up because that can open doors for them. And either it's Instagram, TikTok, or if you want YouTube, if you want long form, it just depends. What are you offering? Where do you want to be? But then showing up relatively consistency there.
Yeah.
So it means at least 3 times a week, if you can. For YouTube, it's different. It's a different kind of style. Once a week, long format, and then you have the shorts. But you need to have some kind of consistency. Yeah. You know, it's a long-term game.
Yeah.
And for me, what I told myself when I need to show up, and I made the decision that I need to also be committed to my own personal brand if I'm doing this for others, because it took me time to get on board. I was doing it for people for a long time before I even actually did it for myself. I've done it for myself in different ways. I've really reinvented my career and myself many times. But showing up and taking space and being in the spotlight, it took me some time to get there.
Yeah.
But now I'm on it and I'm okay
You're
with it.
You're mastering it. Yeah.
But what I mean is that being able to stay consistent, but considering that it's a part of your job.
Yeah.
You know, instead of being like, oh, okay, but I don't want to be an influencer and this and that and cringe and whatever. This is my job. I'm going to do it and I'm just going to be committed to it. Once you get in the flow with it, it's not a big deal anymore. It doesn't take so much like brain power.
Yeah.
It's just something that's part of your routine.
Yeah.
So LinkedIn 3 times a week, Instagram 3 times a week, or if I have something additional I need to add, then I'll do that. And it's just a part of the day and that's it. Not a big deal.
It's so funny because my social media manager, which is behind us here, that we are trying to build also my personal brand. Yeah. And I was talking to her and I was saying that because, of course, she takes care of the strategies and everything. And somehow, because I'm so focused on the podcast, I'm so focused on my next project and everything, I kind of like feel guilty when I take too much time for content. So because in my mind is, but am I really like in my mind is like, I'm not sending any email. I don't have meetings. I don't have podcasts. I don't have this. So like I told her, you know, it's crazy that I need to start thinking that this is also part of my schedule. This is part of this is work. It's not just me like taking some time to make a video and I feel guilty because I don't perceive it as work. Yeah. So what you said is so valuable and it happened to me as well. Yeah. That we need to start thinking that this is also part of the game. So this is not something we should be guilty of if we take even one day to make them, to make some content.
I mean, also being intentional about it. So obviously in your case, you have a strategy, you have a plan, it's kind of supporting your bigger picture. So that definitely needs to be just like that's a part of whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
I think, where people get confused is they feel like on social media they need to show up very trendy or very like, informal, and then LinkedIn is like a different version of themselves. So it's actually something you do tweak it here and there, but it needs to stay like you at the end of the day, and how you show up, so people get to know you, and they start trusting that experience with you online, right? So then they reach out, or they want to connect with you, or it's really interesting because even if people are not engaging with you online and then you see them in person, they'd be like, oh, I love your content. I love what you're doing, and and it's strange because you don't
see that.
But it means people are watching, right? So that's what's an important takeaway, is that people are watching you for a long time before maybe they see you or they interact with you. But building that trust is it's important. It's a part of that's just
Start
how it
of
is.
The game. And Mariam, I have a question for you. When it comes to personal brand, is there someone that you really look up to and you think it's very inspiring and you think she has or he has a very good personal brand? From your clients, from someone you like, whatever, like an example that every time you look at, you're like, this is a very good personal brand.
There's so many good examples, and I think some you resonate with, some you don't, but it doesn't dismiss the fact that they're strong. For example, one is Martha Stewart. I don't know if everyone would know who she is, but she came out maybe in the 90s as this like bringing women back into the homemaking experience, but she did it in a very elevated way. But over the years, she got really like very powerful in terms of her empire and what she built. And I think she has a store here, either in Mall of the Emirates or Dubai.
Really?
Yeah, she opened her own line here in Dubai now.
Yeah, Martha Stewart is an institution
worldwide.
And
she was in jail for a while because of insider trading, so to speak. And then she came back, and she totally like rebelled, and she's like on these magazine covers in a very, highly, sexualized way, but she's like, in her 70s, so I just think she really played the game so well and in her favor. It doesn't mean that everyone has to follow that way, but what I mean is it really worked for her, and she broke records that no one ever has, and that and even in the stock market,
and that time also,
it's crazy. And there's a Netflix show about her if anyone's interested to see, analyze her a little bit, because I really like to study people. This is something I'm very fond of. I've been doing it since I'm a little girl. I love observing and understanding, how, why, So she's a great one. There's so many. Even Sheikh Mohammed has an amazing personal brand. I mean, Dubai is a personal brand.
Dubai is a personal brand.
It's a brand, but also it's very much linked to the leaders as well. So there's so many great examples. And if you analyze any truly successful person, they have a very strong personal brand. They know that they have to manage their narrative, their content, what's out there about them. So in my opinion, if you really are ambitious and you want success, it's a part of the formula. For everyone, every actor, any influencer, any kind of rising star, they use personal branding and social media to their advantage. So it's something to think about. I mean, Steve Jobs. I mean, it just goes on and on. There's so many great ones.
And have you seen during your career a person who wanted to build their personal brand, but somehow they did a mistake and they were not perceived as good as they were thinking, or maybe you see like a repetitive mistake in people who are trying to build a personal brand, but every time they fall into this, you're like, okay, this is the biggest mistake you can do?
There's various forms of it, but I think it's just sometimes things will work. Obviously things are not going to work. It's a trial and error. It's not like a perfect formula, right? So
you think that it's a game also of repetition, a game of like, okay, I'm trying to put something out that I think it resonates, I will test, and then eventually if it works, I continue, and if it doesn't work, I stop, I assume.
Yeah, so the thing is, when we do strategy, it's really important to kind of understand your values, but also like your key messages. Like what do you want people to associate with you? So in your case, maybe it's wellness, maybe it's like being an entrepreneur, your podcast, maybe there's something else as well. So these are kind of like, things you can repeat in different ways, different formats. And being creative is important as well, because like when people see the same thing over and over again, it's not interesting anymore. But it's also good to be kind of clear, clear, focused, intentional. Repetition is important. Why? Because there's just so much out there. So like we are all, let's say, guilty of scrolling. You just flip through, flip. So you really have just a few seconds to grab attention, honestly, right? So not everyone is going to see every single piece of content you put out there. You really hope they do, but a lot of times they don't. So repetitions is important just to like be able to like really drive in the message that what you want them to know about you and engage with you, interact with you. I think sometimes people can oversell, and that's annoying. Not everybody is going to feel comfortable to buy into you right away. So maybe offer them, what is the added value of following you or being in touch with you or watching your content.
Being too much maybe on the marketing side and pushing the product rather than...
I think there are a lot of even like entrepreneurs, because we do a lot of founder-led content as well. And sometimes you find that there is a sense of like being very pushy and I need to sell and I need to... So that's a part of it, but it's really important to be able to offer something else as well. So people buy into you once they feel like you have the knowledge, you have the expertise that you are worth investing in, right? So you got to be able to share on that level a little bit as well, right? It's not just buy this, do this, buy this, but you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because that's a turn off as well, right?
It is. So. And you feel like kind of like a pressure, and you have the perception that this person just want to get money out of you and doesn't really want to either help or support or just give you the service.
Exactly. You're not sure how that exchange will end up on the other side. And another thing is like doing too much at one time. So like there was that, I don't want to mention names, but that other influencer who's quite well known. She's been doing a lot of things. So like events, and then there's a podcast. Oops, I'm sorry. There's events and podcast. Do you want me to start over again?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I'm sorry. That was the delivery. Okay. So this one influencer who has quite a big following, she's really talented. Don't get me wrong. She's really talented and people really engage with her. I think she understood that for her to like have a long-term game, she needs to create other forms to monetize. It's not only her page. But what's happened, it's like a very confusing to someone on the outside, right? Yeah. So there's events, there's a podcast, there's a course, I think, and then it just goes on and on and on. So I feel like, maybe people don't know what's the best way to engage with her. If they wanted to like buy into her, it's very confusing. There's just so much happening. If it's working for her or not, I'm not sure, but I do feel that she's still finding her way with all of that. But she has a lot of energy and that's great. But it's like sometimes less is more. Maybe it's better to focus on one thing at a time and build it gradually, as opposed to like 10 things, 10 offerings at the same time. So obviously we all want to monetize. That's the point, right? But there's also a strategy to that as well.
Absolutely.
So that it's you get people to convert, right?
Yeah, makes totally sense. Yeah. Mariam, when it comes to strategy and marketing, converting to social media during the year, do you think the AI will play a big role in the future, or do you think that is still something that it can be used but not, let's say, abused? What do you think about the role of AI? So do you mean
in the creative part or more in like the tactical part of social media, or just in general?
I think in general, yeah. So even when it comes to creating content, if people would eventually feel that this video is from AI and is not really you, like I'm sure that you are informed about AI and then you looked into it and everything. So what's your personal opinion about it?
Okay, look, I think that AI videos and stuff, like there's this more, it's more because it's a novelty, it's interesting for people. I don't know how long that will last, because I personally don't resonate. If I see a person and they're like an AI and talking to me, like for me, I just switch off.
Same.
That's me. Okay. I don't know what is the research on that, how maybe the youth, the younger generations, maybe they are okay with this.
Yeah.
You know, they're different. They're very different.
They're very different. Yeah.
Like, you
They
know,
are.
aliens. It's like, are you sure? You're like, yeah. So, but obviously there are really great platforms now that help with content in terms of product shots, you know, putting it on a model like for fashion and stuff. And they look really good, you know. So I think, you know, businesses at the end of the day, they want to play it smart as well. So why would you spend thousands on a photo shoot if you can also do something?
Yeah, in this I totally agree.
So it makes sense. Maybe still sometimes you need to do brand campaigns and whatever, but like maybe for the day-to-day stuff, maybe that's more than enough right now, you know? Then obviously for scripts and captions, you know, I think everyone is kind of jumping on the ChatGPT or Claude bandwagon, which, you know, it does help. I think, you know, not everyone is a writer. Not everybody knows how to. So you gotta, you know, use the tools that you have. Sometimes it sounds very generic, so you really need to know how to prompt. You need to know how to edit that as well. So I think you gotta use it in whatever ways it works for you. And I know like agencies and businesses are really embracing a lot of that. So, I mean, AI is integrated into so many things already. So maybe it's not an AI platform, but it's integrated into Canva already. Like they keep updating all of that. So Canva is a design tool that lots of the younger people are using these days. A lot of people use it, you know. Adobe Illustrator is not as popular anymore, you know, because this is template based.
Also, it was too complicated. Yeah,
you really needed to like have a proper training for that. Canva, anyone can jump on and kind of figure out how to do it, right? Maybe it doesn't look wow, but if you really take time on the platform, you can produce some really beautiful things on there, right? So it's already there, and it just depends how you want to embrace it. I think for the video part, it still needs some time, but maybe it doesn't take too much time for it to get really, really good. You know? So, I tell my kids too, I'm just like, guys, you need to really, you know, understand how to navigate this, because it is a little bit like scary at the same time, right?
Yeah, it will be super, super interesting to see in the future, even for young kids and young teenagers, how they're gonna, you know, embrace this and master it better than us for sure.
Yes.
Okay, now we talk about the personal brand part. What's the difference between building a personal brand and building a brand? So in terms of marketing and social media.
Yeah, so I mean, a brand is more like you are, for example, you are Skims and you have a range of product that you want to sell. So it's more like a business or a company that has a specific product or service. So I would say a brand is more around an entity as opposed to a person. And personal branding is because it's linked to a person at the end, right? I mean, I don't think the frameworks really change too much between the two. There's still a relatively similar framework. But obviously with a personal brand, it's a person, so there's a bit more human connection. I mean, storytelling is still equally important on both sides. And even more so founder-led content. So let's say the fact that Kim Kardashian is founded Skims and her face is all over that helps to sell it, right? So people relate to people, they buy into people, not necessarily brands these days. You know? I think it's evolving a lot over the years, because I mean, when I grew up, you know, there are brands that we know and love that you buy into, and maybe some of them are still around today. But I feel like now, because there's just so much out there, you really want to find something bigger to buy into, right? So, and it usually has a person behind it. So that's why we encourage a lot of businesses that we work with, and even, let's say, entrepreneurs, founders, to have their face in the content. It doesn't mean it has to be all of them always, all the time, because a lot of them like don't like this. They feel like it's not for them. But I'm like, you need to show up. It's important for people. And as long as you do it in the way that's relevant for you or works for you, that's fine, you know?
So do you think that, for example, let's say I want to make my own brand, and I don't know, it involves campaign, videos, content, and everything, both on the website, online. So do you think it is relevant for people to connect to my brand if I'm there, if I'm physically showing up in the picture, in the videos, in the website? Or do you think that, I mean, these two things, the personal brand and the brand, can be separated?
It really depends what you're building. You know, it's really hard to say it's like black and white kind of situation or scenario, but it also can work, you know, without having a person behind it. But I think more and more, especially with like the Gen Z and Gen Alpha, what they do is they go online on socials and they see, you know, the founder on set, or they see the founder making this, or and
involved,
then they're following the person, and then they buy into what the person has. But equally so, there are brands that they like that they don't necessarily have a person behind it. But I think it's just a very, especially if you have something small, you know, it's a smart way to get people on board faster than having to building a brand is a journey, right? You know, especially for a business, it's not something that happens overnight. You know? It really takes time, money, energy, you know, collaborations, exposure. So the founder-led approach is just it works well considering the media landscape that we have right now.
And okay, so we touch base the 3 main points for a great start when it comes to personal brand. What are the 3 main points that you have to consider if you want to start your brand? So not personal brand, but you want to open your brand and you want to market it in the best way possible. What are the 3 main things I have to consider?
Okay, great. So I think with a brand, first and foremost, like, do you have a business plan? Believe it or not, you'd be surprised that, you know, a lot of people don't really have a plan. They just want to create a brand. They want to sell this, and like, okay, but what is the plan? How are you going to make this happen financially? What is the growth plan?
So it
what are the
happened
numbers?
to you that you had clients with no strategy and no plan. They just want
like
to
the business plan is like very minimal, or, you know, I just feel like, you know, they're relying a lot on marketing and branding to kind of carry the weight of a business. But if you don't have the fundamentals there, that's not gonna make magic happen, right? So then after that, it's also, you know, understanding what are you selling, you know, what is the challenge that you're offering people to solve? Like, what are you solving for people?
What's the problem you're trying to solve?
Yeah. So that really helps when you have that very clear. So it's almost like your mission statement. And that you can build the whole brand kind of around this, right? So I think that also is missed quite frequently. It's like, oh, I want to sell this lip gloss and that and that and that. Okay, but what are you solving? There's like thousands, if not millions of brands out there. So what is your edge? What are you doing that's different? What are you solving for women? You know, so I think they're kind of running out of ideas also. There's just so much out there, but it's not impossible. You can still find a way, right? So, and then third is like, okay, so who are you selling to? Who are they? Like, what do they look like? Where do they live?
Your target,
but it's really imagining them and all. This is something I learned early on when I was working in a branding consultancy. Whenever we work with, like, we had very high level clients. We worked with RTA. We worked with like a lot of the governmental agencies as well. But we would have this exercise with all the leadership, and we would say, like, imagine if this brand was a person. What would they look like? What would they wear? Where would they go eat at a restaurant? Who do they hang around? Where do they travel? You know, so really imagining this person and holistically, because at the end of the day, your brand needs to appeal to them. So it's almost like that's going to be your brand persona, right? So that's a really fun exercise. And I think it's, you can get a lot out of that. You can get a lot of ideas. And then later on, you get into the colors and what is the logo. You know, a lot of people think branding is a logo and some colors, right? And then, you know, let's just stick it on a stick it on a page. It's really that the design comes later on.
So again, I want to touch base the point that is so misunderstood. Virality, going viral. Everyone now is obsessed with going viral. Is it that important?
Look, you know, a lot of the viral videos, if you go to the page, because I also study this as well. I go to the page, you'll see that, you know, there's a few videos of theirs that have been viral, but there's nothing as a takeaway there. You know, it's just really entertainment factor kind of thing. It's really funny, or it's really weird, or it's just like, you know, someone fell off a bike and whatever. You know what I mean? It's just like
very pointless.
And okay, although it's nice to have those numbers and everything, but then if it's not fulfilling any kind of clear objective, then it's kind of a missed opportunity, right? So I think for when we work with people and businesses, we always tell them, look, the point is not to be viral. The point is to show up consistently, build trust, be in the long-term game. Also understanding your objectives. What are we doing with all this, you know?
Yeah.
That will build over time.
Yeah.
As opposed to like wanting a one-off viral video that really is not gonna translate at the end of the day. So it helps, but it's not everything.
Yeah. And you mentioned consistency. That is key, basically to everything. If you want to go to the gym, if you want to eat well, if you want to, I don't know, even build a business. But even when it comes to marketing and social media, why do you think people are struggling with consistency so much when it comes to marketing and social media? Is because it's a game of comparison, they compare themselves too much with other people online, or it's more like a mental burnout from keep on, producing content. So.
Yeah, I think it can be many things. And I think the people that, let's say I've discussed this with over the years, either one, they really just don't have time for this. It's just not their thing. Like, I mean, for me, I'm naturally inclined for this creative stuff. That's I've always been in some kind of creative thing over the years, right? So it's fun for me to some extent. And I enjoy it. Yeah. But I think it's not, if you're not a creative person or if you're not enjoying showing up in that way, it becomes like, okay, I don't have time. Yeah. Second of all is like, I really don't know how to do this. So there's just a lack of knowledge. Some people don't even know how to use the platforms. It's that basic, right? Yeah. So it's about educating yourself or finding someone to help you with all that. You gotta have to delegate also, if you have the resources, then delegating or educating yourself on how to do it. And third is like, I think there's the cringe factor. People really just can't deal with seeing themselves like show up, right? Yeah. And there's a lot of self-judgment. And I had this conversation with someone I've known for many, many years. We actually went to school together, and she's an amazing businesswoman. Incredible. I'm very inspired by her. But she was just saying, it's just like the cringe factor of seeing myself talking on a video, and then some people, you can see how authentic they are and they don't care and they can just do whatever, and we love them for that. It's very hard for me to show up like that. Like, so there's this sense of like having to do everything perfectly, right? Yeah. And I think I went through that phase as well. It's like you want to show up like, polished and perfect all the time. And then, but that's not human, right? So being vulnerable, it doesn't mean telling the world all your problems. That's another thing which I'm not a fan of. Really? Like social media is not a therapy tool. Like it's like, you know what I mean? Like, you can be raw and real and open about things, but what I mean is just being vulnerable sometimes is also refreshing, because people know that you're human and you're not perfect, right? Because that perfection is intimidating as well, right? Yeah. So, I think those three are probably like the top, but there's probably other reasons as well. But nothing's impossible. If you really want to show up and do something, you can. It's just about finding your way. And I think, the people that have the most success with all this is because they're just really clear about it. Yeah. Just like, I need to show up like this. They find solutions, they get it done, and they keep it going. And you can always reinvent yourself. It's not like a lifelong, that's it, I'm stuck like this. I've reinvented myself so many times over the years. And I think it's kind of cool, Yeah. It's fun.
And we also have to let go the fear of judgment, because at the end of the day, people are going to look at your video 1 second, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Maybe they're going to judge, maybe they're not going to judge, but after all, they're going to scroll away, they're going to forget about it. Yeah. Like, this is what I'm saying, like, because for example, now that I'm doing the podcast and I'm on camera all the time, for a person that was a bit fixated with especially the visual part and the look and how I am perceived, I'm like, if I really want to do this, I have to let this go. Yeah. So, okay, I can fix my hair, I can fix my makeup. There are times where I look good, there are times where I look bad, but I cannot say, oh, I don't feel my 100%, this is not going to go out. Because this is not the case. This is a strategy. Doesn't matter what happened. On Monday, we're going live. Yeah.
Look, I think with time, it just becomes easier, right? So as you're evolving through this, you feel like it's just becoming more and more natural for you. Yeah. Always, and when we do something new, it feels awkward, it feels weird, scary, it feels like, okay, am I doing this right? Or, also there's a lot of, I think more than other people judging you, there's a lot of self-judgment as well, right?
100%.
So I think just like for me, what I found to navigate this, because as much as people feel like I'm an extroverted character, I'm quite not the case. I'm more introverted. I think I've trained myself. I've been in front of the camera since I was a teenager. So I've just learned how to also be in front of the camera. But that's just because I had that opportunity and I kept it going, and you just kind of get used to it, right? Yeah. So in the same way, people can train themselves to show up, right? It's
100%.
just about understanding what is your intention with this.
Yeah.
People like, I don't want to be famous. I don't want to, that's not my goal.
Yeah.
I just want to tell people about what I do and share the things I love with people. And then, hopefully they buy into what I offer. And I would love to be able to work with them if it resonates, right? It's very simple.
Absolutely. Yeah. And as I ask about the personal brand, is there a brand actually that you think they're doing a great job when it comes to marketing and positioning themselves?
There's so many. I mean, we spoke about Skims, even though I'm not necessarily a fan, but they do it very well. They've done it very well. They've been able to scale and to grow. So, I mean, Kim Kardashian in general, she's a very skilled businesswoman. Yeah. What other brands are great at the moment? I mean, a lot of the luxury brands, I mean, I know that it's sort of been there, done that, but a lot of these brands, especially with the watches and jewelry, and I have still the opportunity to be part of that world, they've been around for
years and years,
hundreds, if not 1,000 years, so to be able to kind of carry that legacy and the quality and the, for example, Jaeger LeCoultre is a watch brand, and they've been doing the watches even for other brands for centuries. It's just crazy, the history, and that they've been able to carry that forward in the craftsmanship and all that. So I think, brands with stories, with history, with legacies, they can stand the test of time because they've been delivering quality product for years and years and years, right? So, for me, I'm more, as I get older and wiser, I'm more into these, quality products that I can pass on to my kids. Yeah, timeless, but also, we still like to indulge in different things, but it's just good to really study. It's to study them. Why is it working? How did it work? How do they pivot? How do they evolve? Because, with the times, people change, right? And generations change. So what my kids, I have teenagers, what they are into is very different than, what I would be into right now. So it's how do you keep appealing to these new people that come on earth, right? So you got to keep evolving too. There's so many good ones.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorites?
That's a good question. I think Gisou, for example, in the beauty industry, I think she targeted herself very well, and then she converted her, because you look at Negin, which is an influencer, and she has amazing hair, and people are looking up to her because of the hair, and she created a hair brand that in a few years it became a global brand, and everyone is talking about Gisou, and she's launching new products and everything, and she's perfectly aligned with what she's selling in terms of both ingredients and the beauty side and everything. So I think this is a brand that really, really, she converted her audience and shifted into the business side, which not all influencers, maybe they can do it that gradually and I would say gracefully as well, because she was never too much, too pushy, too commercial, I would say. So I think her path was pretty graceful to watch. Yeah, she's a good one. I think Huda Beauty is also a very strong Huda is an institution,
example. Yeah, she's pretty inspirational as well. I mean, there's so many great ones, and what's really amazing is that I'm from the region, so it's really nice to see that people and brands from the region are now becoming global. This is a really exciting time here, and I also do my best to support regional brands as well. There's the giving movement as well, which is pretty cool. I mean, there's so many now. And that's it's an interesting time. So let's see how it evolves.
Yeah, I agree. Mariam, last question for you. So considering the scenario in the future, which is something that you see it coming when it comes to trend in marketing and personal brand that you would like to share with our audience today? A bit of like trend forecasting, I would say, that we have to watch out because probably in the future will be important.
Okay, look, the founder-led content it's been around for a bit, but I think it's here to stay, and I think it's really interesting how, you know, you can share your point of view of like what's going on in your world. How did you build? How did you tackle this issue? I think why it works so well is that you feel like you're in it.
Yeah.
It's almost like a reality show with you.
You're part of the project.
Yeah. And I think, you know, we're used to this very polished, perfect approach to content. I think as we evolve, especially, you know, TikTok has shown us that more real, raw content is actually performing much better there. I mean, that you can do very well if you're ready to show up in that way there.
Yeah.
And that, you know, keeping in mind every platform has its own kind of USP and appeal. Some other kinds of trends for personal branding, I think, would be, I don't know. It's really hard to predict.
No, but I think the one you shared is a very good one. Like to keep on focusing on sharing your journey as an entrepreneur, or as can be also for coaches, you know, if they have to sell a service and then they want to maybe share the behind the scene of like creating a course or a journal and everything. So I think if you, how can I say, if you welcome people inside your world and you share them your journey, they will take part.
I think also building community. I know that's, you know, more like brand led, but I think more and more as a personal brand, building community around, you know, who you are, what you do, what you offer. Maybe it's a book club, maybe it's like, you know, a styling session. Like, I think it's just a really important to remind people that we still have to build human connection in person. You know, so as much as we're doing things online, we need to translate that in person, offline as well. And this happens quite frequently because, you know, I've been in Dubai almost 30 years now. So I know quite a lot of people. Whenever I go out, I bump into someone that I know. So it's always interesting to see, you know, their interaction, but also, their evolution, but also like people that you know from before, and then you meet them again, what they have to say and their memories of you and all that. I mean, this is something that is priceless, you know? So as much as you show up online, and I'm all about that, and this is like what we do for our work and everything, but offline, community, building your network. I would say that this is timeless, but not to forget that as well.
Absolutely. I agree. And we should all consider that as well. And do not forget that this is a part that actually can convert as well and make us, you know, be part of the community we built.
The human element is so crucial. And I think sometimes we get lost in all the online stuff. So sometimes one human interaction can change everything 100%. For someone, right? So I think that's my takeaway for.
Absolutely. Mariam, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
If people want to reach out to you or find your page, your agency, where they can find you?
Okay, so they can find me. My Instagram handle is it's Mariam Yasin. On LinkedIn, I'm Mariam Yasin. And our pages for our agency is the Brand Botox. So they can find us. Instagram is probably a better place. We have a website as well. So,
Amazing. Mariam, thank you so much for being with us. If you have any question for Mariam, please comment down below. Do not forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode.